Ahoy! What's good? Now, at this point, you've probably heard that there was a, let us just say, major leak of information over at Twitch, but if this is the first time you're hearing about it, you might want to go change your passwords and stream keys. Go ahead, pause the video. I'll just be waiting here. You good? Alright. Well, these leaks have been on my mind for about the past week or so, and I've got some thoughts that I want to share. And no, I don't want to get into how Hasan actually has money. And at least for now, I don't want to get into the near total absence of women and people of color among the top earners on the platform. At least not today. I think it's a very worthwhile conversation to have at a later date. What I really want to talk about is less about the people who are making millions of dollars via streaming. Because I think the more interesting story told by these leaks is not about the haves. It's about the have-nots. But before we get into the weeds about that, I feel like we need to go through and talk about a different type of business. I want to talk to you for a bit about multi-level marketing. Now, the odds are pretty good that someone you know has been pulled into a multi-level marketing platform. Businesses like Amway, Avon, Herbalife, and Primerica are all going to fall under this umbrella. Now, in a multi-level marketing business, there are typically two ways to make money. First, you either sell the product directly yourself, and this tends to be slow, and a lot of this marketing and these sales are happening through the individual person's social networks, and it's very easy to exhaust potential leads, making it hard to continue to expand the business, leading to the second way to make money, which is to recruit people to work under you to sell the product while you take a portion of their sales. You become their supplier, aka their upstream, and they become part of your downstream. It's kind of like a river. Now, you can kind of see how this works. The incentive is you pull people in. The incentive is then for those people to pull other people in. And the people that are toward the bottom of the structure are at risk of, let's just say, holding the bag. It's not very hard to find stories about people who get involved in multi-level marketing and then end up with a household full of merchandise that they cannot sell, but the people in their upstream, the people who are supplying to them, are basically good because they've offloaded their own purchases to somebody else. Now, if you're thinking about this, you've probably noticed that this is going to lend itself to let us just say a pyramid-like structure. Like their close cousin, the pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing systems or businesses or platforms, I'm just going to call them MLMs from this point, tend to benefit only the people at the very top. In fact, the overwhelming majority of people stand to lose money when they get involved in these kinds of businesses. In fact, they tend to stand to lose a lot of money by getting involved in these businesses. And the thing is, that isn't even really a secret. And every day, new people find themselves in multi-level marketing, network marketing, or whatever the heck these businesses are starting to call themselves now. Studies have even shown that there is no correlation between education level and susceptibility to get pulled into multi-level marketing. So people that are very smart and very proficient in other areas of their life do find themselves roped into these businesses and increasingly maybe even losing money without a clear way out. So how does that happen? Well, I want you to take a look at this picture from a multi-level marketing convention. Now, doesn't this just look exciting? It looks like a rock concert. You've got the big lights, you've got the audience, you've got the big stage, you've got all the glitz and glamour that's being used to promote these kinds of organizations to the people that come to attend these conventions. And if you're stopping and you're thinking, Ricky, I think I've seen an image like that before in something like a mega church. Well, if you've already had that thought, oh boy, we're going to have some fun conversations later. Anyway, you see, MLMs make a very big deal out of celebrating the very small number of people who are able to make a profit out of them. And this has a twofold purpose. On one hand, for the people at the very top, this unlocks a third, super secret way to make money in these businesses. Now, they get to go out in front of crowds, sell motivational tapes and seminars. They have people paying them, trying to figure out the secret to how they made that money. And now for the people that are buying or on the receiving end, being able to go to a convention like this, to see those top earners that are showing up in limousines and flaunting all their wealth, it makes it feel like that dream is accessible to them. If that person up there on this big stage who's telling me that they're making $1 million a year in this multi-level marketing business is able to do this, well, then I can too. They are living the dream. I can live the dream too. It is right there. It is tangible. It is accessible. And after all, if you keep working hard in this business, you're going to eventually make a profit, right? Right? We call this aspirational capitalism. By dangling the image of success in front of people, it's like a carrot on the end of a stick, and it can keep people running a rat race that they probably, if they stop for just a second, could tell is a race that no one is really winning. And it reminds me of something else, too. The front page of Twitch.com. So you see, this is where things come back to Twitch. No, I'm not going to say that Twitch is a multi-level marketing platform, but I do think that that info I just went over about multi-level marketing or MLMs is a useful lens when it comes to understanding platforms like Twitch and other types of influencer marketing. Remember those leaks I talked about at the start of the video? There are people who are making millions of dollars on this website, streaming themselves playing games. However, those are also going to be the people that you see likely aggressively promoted on the platform, and that makes them very hard to ignore. But as you get beyond the top earners on the platform, it doesn't seem like it's a very graded, gradual decline in earnings. In fact, it's a pretty steep cliff. Now, let's do some quick maths here. So I pulled these numbers from Twitch Tracker, and we can see that overall, there are about 9 million monthly broadcasters in the year of our Lord and Savior Luigi Mario 2021. But I don't think that is the best metric to go by here, because this includes people that go live once and then never do it again. It's probably better to start by focusing on the Twitch Partner Program, the very exclusive club, the elite of the elite on the platform, of which there were only about 52,000. And so you would think that this very small portion of the monthly broadcasters are probably doing pretty well on Twitch, right? The answer doesn't seem to be the case, because it turns out that based on this article that I pulled from PC Gamer, only about the top 0.01% of streamers are getting big payouts from Twitch. And according to the article here, again from PC Gamer, using the median household income in 2020 of about $68,000 as a metric, only about the top 1,300 streamers are able to achieve that, which means that you need to be in the top 0.015% of all streamers to be making the US household income from Twitch. It's not even 1%. It's a fraction. It is 1% of 1% to be making equivalent career median income money from Twitch. Now, if you look a little bit further, it even gets a little bit more grim. Because remember, this is now we're looking at the top 1,000. Let's expand out a little bit further. Turns out that many of the top listed streamers, some of which that are even included in those leaks, are making less than a minimum wage. So in this article from the Washington Post, it's broken out that if you look at these leaks and you look at the top 10,000 highest paid streamers based on subscriptions, When you convert their earnings, dividing it by the number of years they've been streaming, about 25% of the top 10,000 people are making less than a minimum wage. And the author even points out this might be a charitable estimate of how this all works out. I mean, really think about this, right? Let's put this all in perspective. There are about 52,000 partnered streamers on Twitch right now, right? Only about 1,000 of them, or 1,300 if you want to be more charitable, are making about the median household income in the United States in the year 2020. But as you get further out of that into the top 10,000, remember, that's the top 10,000, which presumably is of the 50,000 partnered streamers. The vast majority of them are making less than a minimum wage via subscriptions. It's a pretty bleak look if you want to break down these numbers in terms of how realistic is it to make streaming either a career or even a side hustle. And Twitch does a lot to make it seem like that's realistic, but the numbers tell a very different story. Now, Twitch is broken out into more than just unaffiliated streamers and partners. When you start streaming on Twitch, you're going to find a long list of achievements waiting for you. Typically, these consist of stuff like getting a certain number of concurrent viewers, getting a certain number of followers, streaming for a certain number of hours. You basically get the picture. And the thing is, getting these achievements feels good. After all, who doesn't love making numbers go up? But in the world of psychology and marketing, we have a different term for this. We call it gamification. And it is basically what it sounds like. Studies have shown that by making tasks feel like video games, putting out achievements, metrics, and high scores, you can make people stick with tasks that might not have immediate rewards. Now, as you rack up those achievements, eventually you might find yourself with the option to go into the affiliate program. Again, this is an intermediate step between unaffiliated streamers and partners. Approval is automatic, and it comes with the ability to monetize your content on Twitch. After some onboarding documentation and going through Creator Camp, where top partners on the platform will give you feedback and advice on how you can grow your personal brand. So you can kind of already see how the language is working in here. You're an unaffiliated, maybe hobbyist streamer, you get into the affiliate program, and now we're talking about monetization, we're talking about personal brands, we're talking about growth. You can kind of see where this is going. But after you go through all of this, you get that big subscribe button on your channel. What's interesting though, is that Twitch handles subscriptions in a way that's, it's odd to say the least. So when you subscribe to a streamer, they don't get the full value of that subscription. Twitch takes half of it. So if you're telling me that you subscribe to, I don't know, some weird dear VTuber named Ricky, she doesn't get that $5. It gets split in half. She gets half of it, and Twitch takes the other half. It's kind of an odd system, and it's not even that clear cut, because she doesn't even exactly get her half now. Twitch keeps an account for affiliates where they accrue value over time. And once that you save up or you've earned $100 in subscriptions, then the system will automatically pay you out, but not before them. I can't really think of another system that works this way. Imagine if you went to your bank and you told them, "Hey, bank, I have $75 in my account. I would like to withdraw that, please." And then the bank turns around and says, "We don't pay out in increments of less than $100. You're going to have to deposit another $25 before we will pay you out." And then you walk out of the building feeling very confused. When you consider again that a subscription is only $2.50, A small streamer needs to accumulate 40 subscriptions before their first payout, and I'm willing to conjecture that most small streamers that are just starting in the affiliate program probably don't have more than 10 or so people at any given time subscribed to them. So it can take quite a while to get to that point where you start getting paid out. And if you think about this in the context of monetizing a hobby, I really can't think of how other systems work. Let's take, for example, that you were like really, really good at making soap. And so you decide that you're gonna open up an online store and you're gonna sell your soap. Odds are, whatever platform you're using to hold that store is not holding your money until you sell a target number of bars of soap or you have a certain amount of revenue. Which means that for affiliates on Twitch, they really can't just walk away. There's an element of sunk costs involved. Or, in other words, if I have $75 in my account, and I can see that $75 in accrued subscriptions, that revenue doesn't exist really until I hit $100. And so if I walk away, I'm not going to be able to get even a cent of that. So I keep streaming and trying to get the payouts and trying to grow my subscription numbers so that I can get payouts more quickly. And you see how this goes. But this isn't really how jobs work, right? But it is how predatory markets and predatory systems work. Now, in addition to this, though, you get a whole new set of metrics when you enter the affiliate program. It's called the path to partner. When you really think about the language here, it's pretty crafty because you didn't really opt to be on this path. Instead, you're kind of just placed on it. And the goals are to stream for 25 hours within a 1-month period, stream for on 12 different days in a 1-month period, or accumulate an average of 75 viewers overall during that 1-month period. Once you meet these metrics, you have the option to apply for the partner program. And unlike affiliate, where acceptance is automatic, the partner program can reject you. So as the platform has grown, the bar has actually been correspondingly raised. So when I first started streaming, even just casually, the goal was an average of about 50 viewers, if I recall correctly. And then when I came back to this in about the past year or so, I noticed that that was a pretty substantial jump to an average of 75. Now, the increasingly high bar, though, has pushed some streamers to get involved in what are called partner pushes, where they might start streaming more or streaming longer or even doing giveaways as a way of trying to satisfy that average viewer metric, which is far and away the hardest part of applying to the partner program. So, for example, if you're realizing that you're close to applying for partner, you might decide you want to kick it into high gear. One way of doing that is something like a giveaway where you say, hey, every hour on the hour, I'm going to do a giveaway. I'm going to give away a gift card for every 100 viewers that I have on my stream at that time. So, small bit of editorializing here. Doing a giveaway like this is really just paying people to watch your stream. Really just call it what it is. And even on top of that, when we think about the perspective that not a lot of people are really making a lot of money, and even the bulk of partners are making a sub-minimum wage, this is getting into a little bit of a grim place, right? People are sinking more money into the platform to try to grow and hit these viewership metrics in the effort of getting into the partner program, which maybe is going to lead them to getting more money, but according to the leaked information, it doesn't really seem to be the case, and most partners are not making that much more money after getting into the program. And as the platform has grown and the requirements to hit partner have gotten higher and higher, it's also become harder to stand out amidst a crowd of very talented streamers. And again, when you consider that having 100 subscribers, which if we think about media numbers and the info in these leaks, 100 subscribers is a lot. It puts you in an upper percentile bracket of Twitch overall, but it still only translates to about $250 a month, at least via subscriptions. And so that really puts the cost of stuff like the DLSR camera and the XLR microphones and overlays and transitions and YouTube editors and all that stuff into a different perspective. Because as people get better at streaming and the requirements get higher, there's kind of an arms race of quality in your content, of production value. You've got to have the better microphone, you've got to have the stream deck, you've got to have the fun plugins, you got to have all the stuff going in order to have a more professional stream, to hit the metrics, to get into the partner program, so you might be able to make more money on the platform to pay off the fact that you bought all this stuff to improve your production quality. Do you see where this is going, right? And you might say, no, Ricky, you're a VTuber. You don't need a camera. You can just use your phone. In fact, an iPhone is the best camera for VTubing, if we're going to be real about it. But the wild world of VTubing has a lot else to consider. You've got to also factor in the cost of a model, of art assets, animations, and so on and so forth. Turns out that that's not inexpensive either. So let's do some personal disclosure here. This is me. This is what I look like if you zoom all the way out. I do in fact have feet. I do in fact have hands. So, when I was looking around for artists and everything, I ended up spending about $800 on the art for this model, because with Live 2D animation, the model has to be set up a different way. All of the different moving parts, like when I shuffle around and you see my hair move, my ears, my fabrics, the scarf and everything, all those are separate layers in Photoshop, and so there's a little bit of specialized skill in being able to set up a model for VTubing. And then there's a whole world of animation with Live 2D cubism that is a whole different skill in and of itself. And I spent about another $800 on hiring someone to animate my model. So I spent about $1,600 altogether, and that's before any other stream assets. That's just my model, and I still consider myself pretty middle of the road. There are a lot of people that spend way more than me on this, and there's a little bit of an arms race trying to get particular people to work with you, maybe popular animators or very experienced Live 2D riggers that can actually either do high quality work for you, but also have their own networks that they can promote you to. And even when you get outside of models, you get into stuff like art commissions to put in your schedules and to promote you on different social media and all kinds of stuff. And there's a whole different world when it comes to costs that go along with VTubing, and some of which have nothing to do with streaming or with your model. Now, when I was looking around at first for someone to hire to do the art and the animation for my model, I joined a Discord of Live 2D animators, and I stumbled upon a conversation between a couple of different artists where they were just wondering aloud how many of their clients might be going into debt or borrowing money in order to commission models that can sometimes range into the thousands of dollars. And I'm pretty sure that's not an unfounded assumption. And maybe those people are going into debt expecting that they're going to be able to get super popular very quickly and be able to quickly make that money back. And now you might again say, well, this is all including the idea that you're not going to be able to make your own assets. There are artists and animators that are able to do their own work, but even if you're not hiring somebody else to do it, there's also the factor of time. If you are able to do your own model work and your own animation, you could also be taking on commissions from people. And so there's a different kind of mental math that you have to factor in. And even if let's say you're your own YouTube editor or something like that, again, there's the cost of time. But when we're thinking about this in terms of time to money, like we were with that Washington Post article, it seems like the overwhelming majority of people on Twitch, based on values from subscriptions, are ultimately making less than a minimum wage despite all of the glitz and the glamour and the dream of being able to make this into something like a side gig. So now this is the part where I'm going to have to dial it back a bit and admit that this is a deeply cynical way of looking at a platform like Twitch. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are able to engage with this platform in a healthy way. Maybe they don't care about the monetization, or they write off whatever they're spending as a hobby expense. You know, like the people with the fancy model airplanes that cost thousands of dollars. However, I still think that this is a conversation worth having. The combination of gamification and sunk costs have a lot in common with how multi-level marketing works. And Twitch as a whole is pretty slick at onboarding people from hobbyists into metrics chasers, being a combination of achievements and creator boot camps, and making it seem like those people on the front page that are streaming to thousands of people and making millions of dollars are not that different than you. And it's not that hard to find the stories of the people that have made real personal sacrifices to try to make content and try to chase that dream without much to show for it. It's also not that hard to find the people that did everything right, that hit all the metrics, that got into the partner program, and still aren't making the money that they thought they would be. Maybe even they're still in the red. And this is why I haven't really been able to stop thinking about these leaks. Twitch is a platform dripping with aspirational capitalism, but as you start to look into the specifics of stuff like median follower counts, projected growth curves, and median income, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. And these leaks are a very rare peek behind the curtain at just how the sausage is made. Yeah, some people are making substantial money via streaming, but aspirational affiliates and even a substantial number of partnered streamers are making real sacrifices of their time and their money with a dubious prospect at ever seeing a return. And you can also come across the stories of people being screwed over by friends, the jockeying of positioning, using other streamers to promote themselves, people paying for viewers and burning bridges. And like many people that started streaming more seriously during COVID, I've found myself losing sleep over metrics, feeling shitty at slipping viewer counts, and waking up in the middle of the night feeling like I haven't done enough. And then going over, looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, how did I get to be this person? And at the end of the day, what's it even for? Because according to all these leaks, it doesn't seem like it's for much. Now, another thing here that I should acknowledge is that there are other forms of monetization through stuff like sponsorships and Patreons and Ko-Fis and stuff, or Ko-Fis? Ko-Fis? I've never said that word out loud before, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The thing with the coffee? Those have better returns for creators, and so they've become increasingly popular. But I really wanted to focus this video on the tools that Twitch puts out for viewers and subscribers and streamers on Twitch. So, I guess this is where we wrap it up. I've never been good at ending these videos. Honestly, this was a bummer. Both researching and recording this was a kind of falling down a flight of stairs where I always thought it couldn't get worse, and then it kept happening. It's really made me reevaluate my relationship with streaming and content and all that. And the conversations that I've had with other small streamers has been pretty grim. You know, a lot of people finding themselves in holes where they're not quite sure what they can be doing differently, and or even coming to the conclusion that it's really all luck and there's not much that they can even really do. A lot of the conversations that I've seen about small streamers and the relationship to these leaks have centered around the impact that people can have by supporting them. And like, yeah, that's true. You know, one subscription is proportionately more income for me than it is for one of the people you're seeing on the front page, but is that $2.50 really worth it? I'm not really sure, because it doesn't change the overall structure of the platform that these small creators like myself are in. So I guess I should end this on a quote, right? That's what people do when they don't have anything better to say. Well, a wise man once said, streaming is a blow up. And I hope that maybe this was helpful. This was sobering for me to make, and if anything, has made me think really long and hard about my relationship to metrics and followers and subscription numbers, and the fact that they don't really mean anything. They don't really making, if no one's really making money on this platform, what's the point in stressing about them? The best thing you can really do is try to have fun, and maybe you'll connect with some people. Maybe you'll meet some new friends. Maybe you'll stream your Duolingo German lessons and you'll have a native speaker come in and help you with your pronunciation. Or maybe you'll stream the horse girl racing game Uma Musume and end up talking with an international fan about how you both think the horses are cool. Cool things can happen on Twitch. But when you start to look at the way that's monetized and the way that the platform is sold to streamers, it doesn't paint a pretty picture. That's what I got for you. I hope this was helpful. And just as a reminder, no matter how you feel about your metrics and your path to partner or affiliate, or even if you're just a viewer and now you're reconsidering how you're supporting your friends and your other streamers that you watch, you're doing good. You're doing enough. The real problem here, as usual, is capitalism. Take care.